What's up, everybody? Welcome into Fantasy Football Office Hours, brought to you by Front Yard Fantasy. We just did an hour of game show where Coop came out on top, answered a couple questions over there, but we've got this available if there are any additional questions that you've got as we head into week 13. So get them pumping in the chat, ask them over here, and we will answer them to the best of our ability. Like I said, I'm your host, Simon, joined as always by the esteemed and tenured Professor Joey Wright, and joining us today is guest professor Andrew Cooper, at least for a little bit. So if you got tight end questions, get them in a little bit earlier in today's show. How you doing, Coop?
Doing good, man. Just as good as I am and was when you asked me about an hour ago when we first did that. So since then, just as good. In fact, a little bit better because I did win a game for the first time ever on your game show.
Coop, next time somebody asks me how I am, I'm going to just as good as I am.
Just as good as I am and as good as I will be.
As good as I am, was, and ever will be. Herm's in here with another one. What's up, Herms? Welcome in. And I had a question in my Twitter DM saying they may not be able to make it to the show, but wanted us to answer it for them. So let's go ahead and answer this question. It's for our friend Roel. He wanted to know, start sit Charbonnet or Curtis Samuel this week. Coop, if you had to pick between Charbonnet and Curtis Samuel, who are you plugging in?
That's tough, man, because Samuel, he's not a full-time player, but he does mix in a couple carries. Last week, he got a ton of targets, right? And the week before that, the down week, he got kicked out of the game. So you can't really count that, right? Charbonnet, on the other hand, he's got the full job this week going up against the Cowboys, which is tough. Typically, I lean the running back, but I could be convinced to go Curtis Samuel if that's where Joey wants to go. What do you think, Joey?
Yeah, I don't want any part of Charbonnet tonight. And normally, like, why would I be starting Curtis Samuel over starting running back? But I feel like if the Commanders are going to try to win this game this week, they're going to have to get tricky. And if they're going to get tricky, Curtis Samuel is the solution to that. I'm all in on Curtis Samuel in this question, and that's really strange for me. I'm dealing with this live as we're speaking.
Right. I kind of
Curtis
talked
Samuel
about
was my guy 2 years ago, though. He was like my flag plant guy. So
I mean, 12 targets
last year.
Yeah. He does get a couple carries here and there, which can make the difference. I mean, for Curtis Samuel himself, the 1 year he finished as a wide receiver 2 was because he got a bunch of carries. And that was the difference between him being a wide receiver 3 and a wide receiver 2.
And there are games, like you said, Coop, you said, what, he got 12 targets last week? He can just, if the game script goes his way, he can just get double-digit targets. There aren't many slot wide receivers that can make that happen randomly that don't regularly do it.
I'm in.
Herms wants to know, how much should I panic about McBride playing or not playing? I got to make them waiver moves now. Tight end daddy, I know you're itching to speak on this one. I saw it in your eyes.
There's some good. There honestly, I've been thinking about this for weeks because of the number of people on bye this week and the fact that there were no bye weeks last week. So I was just telling people, if you have Hawkinson, if you have Kincaid, if you have Isaiah Likely, Cole Kmet, all those guys on bye, you got to plan ahead. So hopefully there's some options out there. Luckily, one became available this week that we wouldn't have considered in the past, which is Juwan Johnson. So with Rashid Shaheed out, Michael Thomas is already out. Chris Olave might not play. Last week, with all the guys getting banged up, he actually led the team in routes run with 35, got the 7 targets. You can sneak him in there. So honestly, I'm willing to wait on McBride. And if guys like Cade Otton or Juwan Johnson are on the wire, I'm waiting and they're going to try and sneak him into his IR spot. The one that's killing me, the one team that's killing me that I thought I was like, I was sitting there. I'm like, I'm the smartest man alive. I have Dalton Kincaid and Trey McBride. Nothing can stop me. Right. And they have different bye weeks. So I'm like, easy enough. I'll just start McBride this week and Kincaid next week. Now I'm sitting here with 2 guys that aren't playing this week and I can't drop either. So I'm about to drop probably a good player off my bench for a 3rd tight end. So maybe not the smartest man alive. Maybe one of
top 3. There's at least 2 men smarter who knew how to navigate that situation without dropping one. Joey, are you feeling similarly about the McBride situation here?
Yeah, so Coop mentioned a name that I was going to throw out there is Cade Otton, and not just because I'm a Bucs fan, but I do love everything I've seen out of Cade Otton. Baker is starting to trust him a little bit more. He was a player that I thought, okay, second half of the season, he might start tuning up a little bit. It took maybe a week longer than I expected, but Cade Otton looks like a definite target in this offense.
Yeah. I'll tell you what I'm going to do this week is I'm going to start. It's a sacrifice that I'm going to make for everybody else. I'm saying it's a Taysom Hill week, and I'm going to start Taysom Hill. I'm going to put him in my lineups. I'm going to trudge him out there, and he's going to throw 2 passes for 7 yards, and that's going to be it. That's going to be the entire stat line. But I am going to start him because everything else adds up for a big Taysom Hill week, and I'm going to take that shot, the one of 3 times a year that it seems like it should happen.
Yeah, I will say this on Taysom Hill is that I've never been opposed to starting him just for 1 week. A bye week fill-in is a perfect time to use the guy. Where it scares me is people that say I'm going to start him all 3 weeks of the playoffs, and then if you have one down week, you lose, right? So I don't mind a 1 week start there. But I just want to add on Cade Otton, Joey. Last 6 weeks, Cade Otton leads all tight ends in route participation, and he has the second most targets behind only TJ. Or sorry, he's has fifth most targets behind only TJ Hawkinson. So pretty good, man. I mean, he had the games with 6, 9 targets. It was just the matchups with the Titans, who are the second best team versus tight end, and the 49ers that kind of, slowed him down a little bit. But I think he's going to be just fine, man.
Going to kill it. Lucius in here got a question for us. And Lucius, thank you so much for the support, my friend. We really appreciate it. He wants to know, I need to sit one player out of Isaiah Pacheco, Derrick Henry, Jamar Chase, DeAndre Swift, and Deebo Samuel. Freaking solid team, Lucius. Joey, who are you benching out of this bunch?
I guess and he's been good lately, but I've been the anti-Deebo guy. I just think Brandon Ayuk's definitely the wide receiver 1 on that team. And out of this group, I'm actually okay with Chase. I don't mind what I saw last week. I think he's going to get utilized. So it'd be Deebo for me.
I think it's going to be Deebo for me as well. The Eagles secondary, while at the beginning of the year didn't look like what they're getting a little bit better. It's the more of the defense that we expected to see. That's the tiebreaker here. What about you, Coop? Are you agreeing making it a triple Deebo?
I'm in, man. And I'm glad Joey had to answer that question first because it is tough between Deebo and Chase. But Deebo's the kind of guy that beats up on bad teams, with the rushing touchdowns and the gimmicky plays. When he plays tough corners, man, it's hard. It's hard you really have to dial up like screens and stuff, and he has to get lucky.
Yeah. Albert in here said Justin Herbert or Sam Howell this week. What a world we live in. They are asking this question. Coop, where are you going?
I'm honestly going to start Sam Howell, man. We're starting Sam Howell because the Chargers, and this is what happened with the Giants last week, is that if you're a one-trick pony, you don't want to play the Patriots because the Patriots know
they stop being your one trick.
The one trick, like they outwardly say that's what we do. We take away your best guy. So they're going to be focused on Keenan Allen, and I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be a huge day for that team, man. So and Sam Howell's. Like they're willing to just let it fly they're going to get killed by the Dolphins, but they're going to go down swinging doing it, right?
They might drop 25 points in the process. Joey, are you going Sam Howell as well?
This is one of the last weeks you can start Sam Howell. His playoff matchups, 49ers, Cowboys, Rams. You don't
start him and trade him. Start him and trade the lead.
If you can trade,
brutal schedule, man. Yeah. Brutal schedule.
Luckily, it's the Rams first, and then it's Cowboys and 49ers.
Scampers needs half PPR, 1 and 2 in here. Jameson Williams at New Orleans, Jeff Wilson at the Washington football team, Romeo Doubs at Kansas City, or Juju versus the Los Angeles Chargers. So he needs 2. Coop, which 2 would you be starting?
Wolf Scampers, first and foremost.
No, it's Meow.
It's Meow, but that is a Wolf decision. I have Dobbs at like a different tier of all those guys, so I'm definitely gonna start Dobbs against the Chiefs. And then the other guys really don't trust Juju. I would say Jameson Williams because his usage has gotten better lately, but he's got a tough matchup with that. What's his name there? Odebo.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think I'm still just gonna go JMO. But Joey, would it change the way you rank these guys if Devon Achane were to be out?
No, I don't think Jeff Wilson's a thing. It was Dobbs and JMO for me off the top.
Cool. Dobbs and JMO for me as well. As much as I would love for Jeff Wilson to be a thing, it's not going to happen this year.
I'm surprised. I thought Mostert was going to be the one on odd man out.
Jeff Wilson looked good in the work he got last year.
Yeah. And I thought Achane's taken away Mostert. And Mostert's 31. Like, this is it. But no, it's not.
Apparently not. Tim says, knocked out of Scott Fishbowl, tanking in my dynasty league. How do I occupy the time I spent checking my team every 5 minutes on Sunday? Coop, before you have to jump out of here, tell Tim how he should be occupying his time.
Honestly, what I would do is I would tune in to Fantasy Alarm from 11 to noon when me and John and Pemba hang out and answer questions and talk about football. And you can just pretend like you're still in. That's what I would do personally if I were you.
Play Animal Crossing while watching people play Animal Crossing on YouTube. That's my suggestion.
Dude, right.
Like NBA prop bets, Tim.
There you go, dude.
You've got 3 very different suggestions, Tim. Do with them what you will. Coop, I know you said you had to pop out of here.
Got to jump.
But appreciate you coming in and helping us answer some of these questions and for kicking some ass on the fantasy football game show right before this.
Thanks for having me, guys. And, as I've said in the past, and I know you took advantage of it today, but I'm available as long as my schedule dictates it. Just always check with me first if you need a surprise guest, because I love coming on, hanging out with you guys. You guys are my favorites. So thank you, guys. And just follow me on Twitter at Coupe Fiasco. That's the easiest way to find all my stuff.
Truly. Everybody go follow him on Twitter at Coupe Fiasco. Good dude, good dad, good. I can't think of another D word.
That's pretty good. See you later, Coop. Dog dad. Later, guys.
Good dog. All right, we got a couple more questions in here, guys. We'll be around here for another 5-ish minutes answering questions if you have them. Scampers wants to know, DTR, if he plays at the Los Angeles Rams, Browning at Jacksonville, or Taysom versus Detroit. And this is in a 1-quarterback dynasty league. Yeah, I bet you're an underdog if those are your options, Scampers.
I'd start Browning against Jacksonville. It's yucky, but I feel like it's the floor play.
I'm only in on starting Taysom as a tight end, not as a quarterback.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Browning as well there. God, that is gross. And Tim said, I was leaning towards gambling, Joey. That's what he was thinking.
It just became legal in Florida, and I've been doing it.
Blurpy wants to know Taysom Hill or Ferguson in full PPR. He's projected to lose by 14, and his opponent has Dak in his lineup. What are you doing here, Joe? Are you going Ferguson or are you going Taysom Hill?
Yeah, just like a strategy talk here. Like the whole but he's got the quarterback. That never really factors into. I'm gonna play my best players. That's my way of thinking. Anytime I set a fantasy lineup, I'm gonna play Ferguson. I think he could have a good night. Anytime touchdown bet is out there right now for Jake Ferguson, and I definitely put the money on it. And he's like the 6th person down on the Cowboys for anytime touchdown. He's definitely been a target for Dak Prescott in the red zone. So yeah, it'd be Ferguson for me.
This is right on that line. Ferguson's like the name right on that line whenever we're talking about guys that I would start Taysom Hill over right now. Like he's in that range with probably like Dalton Schultz. Who else would be in that range? Like a David Njoku,
Sam Laporta,
a Jake Ferguson. And Taysom Hill falls somewhere in that range. I think I'll go Taysom Hill here for the upside in this game. It could just be a huge Taysom Hill week with the number of receiving options that are out for that New Orleans team. And they're going to have to score against Detroit.
For reference, I have Jake Ferguson as my tight end 7. Taysom Hill is my tight end 8. However, ECR with Fantasy Pros disagrees and says that I am too low on Taysom Hill. So
Interesting. Quincy in here said start 1, flex, Charbonnet, Higgins, Mixon, or Noah Brown. Is this Mixon for you, Joey?
Mixon for me. I'm avoiding Charbonnet if I can tonight. I think he's going to get work, but I don't think it's going to be a whole lot. Dallas has been pretty solid against running backs this year.
If Higgins was a full participant at practice, I probably would have picked Higgins. But if we get news that Higgins practiced in full on Friday, then I'm good to start Higgins. Otherwise, it's Joe Mixon for me as well. Scampers with the important question: who is getting chopped this week? Joey, who got chopped last week?
I did. I've been. If you've been in the FYF Discord, I have been playing a heel. I have been a jerk to everyone in the Listener League channel. It's been a lot of fun for me to play that character, to be such a jerk, so that all of you get to see what Simon and JL see behind the scenes. This week, listen, Anthony, you're going home. Sorry, buddy. This is what's going to happen.
It's me, Anthony, and Rick left. It's me versus the road.
Oh, wait, Rick's on it? No, Rick's going home. Rick's going home. He was mouthing me.
Yo, Rick's team, I don't know how he's alive looking at it compared to all the other teams. That dude is starting Kyron Williams with 3 teams left in a guillotine league. Incredible. But that being said,
I benched Chase last week. That would have been the difference because I started Puka at a Chase. If I'd have done that, razor thin.
Oh no, it was a cute move too that did it.
Yeah,
taking the matchup or the injury news and making it happen.
That's how I got there though. Like I got there making cute matchups. Remember the week I started Tank Dell? I'm like, hey Simon, I'm gonna go pick up Tank Dell and play him 2 touchdowns. Whew. I was strutting around the house that night.
Also, Scamper said Dak team is winning. Yeah, I am a little bit nervous about the Dak CD matchup in tonight's game that Anthony has. He's got that stack on his team. That's a good matchup for him. Well, I think that's it for the questions, Joey. Everybody who came in and hung out during office hours, if you got any more questions, throw them in here because we got a couple more minutes. If not, we're going to jump out of here because we got important business to do.
Yeah, I got to pick up my kids. If you want to see my rankings every week, footballguys.com. They're up there. Go check them out every week. That's where they're at.
If you missed his answers to the questions here, you can just do your best Joey voice. Also, this is my favorite. We're all talking about how Dak's going to do well in fantasy this week, and then the Smitty just comes in. Dak sucks. You think this is like an Eagles fan that just like has a radar on YouTube or like sets up a bot for anytime somebody talks good about Dak, they can just go into their chat and send that comment.
Let me tell you, my full-time job now is basically responding to NFL fan bases. Those Philadelphia Eagles fans, they're a feisty bunch out there. They like to make their feelings vocal and known. So if the Smitty is an Eagles fan, would not shock me on this.
Well, Smitty,
this is not me saying anything bad about Eagles fans. Just saying they make their fandom known.
Appreciate you joining us here at the end, the Smitty. Let us know if you're an Eagles fan. That's going to be it for us. Thank you, Joey. Thank you, everybody in the chat. Mm-hmm. And thank you, Eddie Murphy, for the glorious movies that you've created throughout your career. Until next week, we are out of here. Enjoy Thursday Night Football. Enjoy everything else. Adios, everyone.
Bye.